Welcome back to the Tractor Tech channel. I'm Roger. This is part 3 of my Farmertec MS440 assembly video series. I've laid out all of the small parts to get things organized to help speed up the final assembly. I already put the steel fuel line in the fuel tank. It was pretty tough getting it in there. I believe the hole in the Farmertec tank might be a little bit smaller than what the steel tank is. It was even tight removing the Farmertec fuel line. Then I also put the fuel cap on. So I'm going to start out with the intake boot and go ahead and put that on the rear handle. Then we need this bag of parts. This goes inside of the intake boot. This slides over the carb studs. I'm going to install the impulse line. Now the carb can be slid on. Just need to take this baffle and put this little grommet on it. And then the throttle rod can go through the grommet. I'm going to start by putting the throttle rod on the carburetor. I'm going to push the throttle rod forward. Now the air filter base can be slid onto the carb studs. In this baggie, we need these two nuts. Now the grommet can be pushed onto the tank assembly at the bottom. I popped the master control lever out. I have the wiring routed now. It's a little bit tough to see back in there. But there's a little tab that sticks out underneath the carburetor. I have it tucked in there. I need the grommet for the IntelliCarb snorkel now. Then it can be installed on the carburetor. Now the air cleaner stud. I put the cart before the horse slightly. Need to remove the carb stud and air cleaner flange. Before I put the tank on the crankcase, need to put this AV buffer on I believe these two bolts were in with the oil pump screws. Now I'm ready to put the AV buffers in the lower portion of the crankcase. I'm going to spray a little WD-40 on them so they'll go in easier. And this little one goes in the tank here. And this last bushing goes in the front of the gas tank, or the oil tank. Now the crankcase and the rear handle assembly are ready to go together. The easiest way I found to get them together was stand the crankcase assembly face down, and you can push them together easily. Take this pack of screws, I believe they're like 19 millimeters long. Go ahead and try to start them into the tank. There are two on this side. And this piece of rubber goes around here. This was in with the IntelliCarb snorkel, I believe, and then this cover that goes around the spark plug. And that assembly goes there, and you need this 33 millimeter long screw. Now the wires can be hooked up to the coil. You should check your air gap on your coil after putting the last wire on the coil, just in case the thing did move. This dust shield can go on the compression release. This grommet can go in the air box now. This isn't wanting to fit exactly right. I'm hoping after the air filter's on it'll hold it in place better. I may end up running without it. I'm going to put the pre-filter over the air filter now. The recoil assembly can go on now. I have not upgraded the starter rope yet. I can do that later. The long bolt goes in the top. I'm not seeing this bushing in my kit that normally is in the brake handle. So I have to look around, if not buy one. Now the plugs can be put in the AV bushings. With the spark plug removed, we can put the top cover on, but before the top cover goes on, you should put the model plate on there. I'm not sure if I'm going to run with the MS440 plate I got from the dealer, or if I'm going to use the blank plate that came with the saw. And there's a bushing I need to put, or a rubber bumper. So we have a bag of 3 bolts left. It's for the top cover. These inserts go in the top cover bolts. There are 3. Have the spark plug back in and the wire hooked up. So this piece is for spit back. It doesn't really fit right. I'm going to try it, but I don't know. Figure out something later on, I guess, on it. I decided to leave that piece out for the time being. I didn't put the bucking spikes on yet because I ordered the 660 style bucking spikes versus the standard bucking spike. You need this pack. It has 2 bolts and a nut. So I popped these little guides out for the chain, or bumpers, whatever you want to call them. Putting the bolts in there for the outer bucking spike. They did not give me nuts for this, so I'm going to have to see if I have some here. I put some thread locker on these bolts since I don't have locking nuts. And I also got a roller chain catcher for it from Farmertec. Slide the roller on. I see a small socket. I used a 5.5 millimeter to slide it on. Now it's starting to look like a saw. I just need to put the handle on. You'll need this shorter screw. This pack was already open from doing the AV buffers, I believe. And then there should be a pack with 2 longer screws that has not been opened yet for up top. So that pretty much concludes the assembly. I'm on the video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and subscribe for more updates on this saw. I found the 2 parts to the chain brake handle that I thought were missing. So that finalizes the assembly of the saw.